Okay, next one over here. How does the distance from the sea affect the temperature of locations? Over here, you can see there are two different types of effects. Number one, this is called the maritime effect, where the effect of large ocean bodies have on the climate of coastal areas. Secondly, you have the continental effect, the effect that continental surfaces have on the climate of inland areas. Over here, you can see number one, continental effect, you have this thing called the temperature range. And you can see the lowest temperature you can see over here in January for the continental areas is -5 all the way in summer to about 22.5 to 25 degrees Celsius. Whereas for the maritime effect, you have a much lower or smaller temperature range in between 7.5 to 15 degrees over here. So you can see the temperature range is very different for the continental effect and the maritime effect. Now, let me explain one by one for you. First things first, you have the maritime effect during the summer. During the summertime, the air over the sea is cooler than air over the land. Why? Very simple. Land heats up faster and sea heats up slower. Reason being, the sea itself is a very good conductor of heat and it is very deep. What happens is as the sea absorbs all this radiation, it can actually circulate it within the water and the ocean itself, hence causing temperatures to still remain relatively cool. That is why when you jump into the ocean, even when it's very hot, you will notice the ocean water is still very cold. What will happen is cool air from the sea will then cool down the temperature of coastal areas. So if you're living near the coast, take for example, if even in most places of Singapore, temperature will be lower for coastal areas during the summertime because of the fact that cooling air from the sea will cool down the temperature. However, if we look at winter time, what happens is almost the exact reverse. During winter time, the air over the sea is warmer than the air over the land. Reason why is sea cools down more slowly than the land. What happens during winter time is this. All the radiation from the earth or the surface of the continental surface has already started to rise up. This leaves land very cold, but sea itself takes a very long time to warm up. So what happens, to cool down. And what happens is this, the warm air from the sea will increase the temperature of coastal areas. Hence, temperature is higher for coastal areas during the winter time. And as you can see, over here, this is a climograph, as we've already examined before in class. Over here, what you notice, the temperature range is in London, which is a coastal maritime city. You will notice that during summertime, it's about 20 plus. In the winter time, it's about 5 degrees. This we will compare later on to a continental effect area such as Russia itself. Now, continental effects during the summer. Inland areas, which means if you're looking at somewhere much further in and away from the coast, the temperatures of the areas are not influenced by the sea, and what you see over here is they experience much warmer summers as there is the absence of cool air from the sea to cool down the land. Over here you can see in Russia, during winter time it's about 15 plus degrees because we'll talk about latitude later on. You can see over here it's quite warm over here compared to the winter time where the temperature starts to drop down, which we're going to talk about now. In inland areas, we'll experience much colder winters as the absence of warm air from the sea to heat up the land. What you'll notice over here is that during the winter time, temperatures can drop down to about a low of minus 45 degrees Celsius. Minus 45 degrees Celsius. How cold is that? It is so cold to the point if you threw water up into the air, it will almost instantly turn into ice as you throw it up to the air. Okay, I'll show you the video next time.